Hi there. This is just going to be I don't plan. I always say the same, pretty much the same similar things when I'm doing a talk. And, as you can see in this picture, I've got my beautiful iMac and my candles at night, and that's how I like it. But I want to talk about perception, and as I do, I'll flow through different subjects and why perception really does control everything, and it controls your reality. It's the same with spirituality. There's many people that perceive a spiritual person, for example. They perceive a spiritual person to be better or different to everyone else and to behave in a certain way. And if someone doesn't behave in that way, then they are by definition not spiritual. And this is a complete misperception of spirituality. To be spiritual means that you are what you are, because we are all that. We are our natural state of being is our true self, which is just presence, and that is just what we are essentially, is in this presence, and that is our spiritual state. And so to be spiritual is to just be, with no way or no ideas of being different to what you are right now. There's a complete delusional way of looking at spirituality. That's the thing. Like when I was a kid growing up, my mother would organise psychic fairs. They were like in these hotels and in a function suite, and they would have all these different kind of people there doing psychic readings, but not just psychics, witchy kind of people and hypnotherapists, and much of them were fakes. They were just like speaking in a certain way and done a few courses or something, but they weren't really what they were saying they are. And in the spiritual community, you get a lot of this. You get people out there that, like I said, I don't like to criticize people, but I do this, I point this out to make people aware that there's people out there in the spiritual community who are so narcissistic and so egotistical, and it's all about praise. It's all about, so what they do is they put on an act. They just act. And I've had a lot of these people contact me on the internet, for example, and they contact me because they're not really like that. And I've had people contacting me, and they'll start off as your friend, but then they start turning on you because they weren't real. You get, for example, in the spiritual community, you get people that do courses and read books, and that's good. And then you get people that have had these unexpected, and it's usually unexpected, spiritual awakenings. David Icke, for example, had one, and he was just a guy from the BBC, and it was unexpected. He didn't expect it. But when you've had that awakening, you're on a different. It probably is going to sound big-headed, this, but it's not. You're interacting now with your spiritual self. Like in the start of the video, I'm talking about spiritual, and that's the self you're interacting with. Now, no course can give you this. There's a PhD in spirituality, but it can't get you an awakening. Now, people in the past, when we weren't in lockdown, were traveling. Rich people, wealthy people with money, would travel all around the globe to try and go all these ascended masters, so that they could get that awakening. But you don't need them. All you need is to simply be what you naturally are, because awakening is that moment when you realize that outward is an illusion, and so you just be present. And this is what happened to me. It was that moment when it first started happening of, right, I've had enough. And then you start being present. And we always know, that's how a spiritual awakening is you don't get told and shown how to awaken. It's an intuition thing. It's a within thing. And this is how awakening is. I'm just sorting something. My ukulele there sorting fell on the floor, but yeah, that's what spiritual awakening is. It's an intuition within power that everyone has. And it's that moment when you let go of it all and a within power starts coming through. And you're just, all you've done is just be here, when before you were trying to be there or somewhere else. And that's what it means to be spiritual. When you get people that behave in a certain, or try to speak in a certain way, or they try to use all the right words, much of the time they are not genuine. They are not genuine. There are many snakes in the spiritual community. And I know this because I was 6 years of age in psychic events growing up, so I've saw so many of these kind of people, and these psychopathic people that get involved, and narcissistic people in the spiritual community, and then you get people that wasn't interested in any of this stuff, and then they get this massive awakening. And like I say, anyone can do it, but it happens when you decide. But that is what it means to be spiritual, to just be what you are, to stop looking externally or trying to be what you think you should be. You're getting out of your head and just into your heart space and letting love lead the way. And that's what it means to be spiritual. It's not a way that you behave, because the people that try to maintain a behavior pattern or something like that, they're fakes. That's what they are. That's why they try to behave in a certain manner. They're trying to maintain an image, but when you have that awakening, you just stop that. It's like you're not even trying. You're just being in this presence, and then everything falls into place then. And that's essentially spiritual. That's what it means. It means that we are all that. We are all awakening. We are all spiritual. We are all enlightenment. Because all these things are essentially what we are when we are our true self, when we let go of what the world or our parents or TV or whatever is telling us what we should be. And this is it. When you let go of that, at the moment when, now for a lot of people it happens, this awakening happens out of pain, depression, and it's because you've realized that the outward world is hurting you, and so it's an instinct thing. Like I say, it's a within thing, and what this awakening path has showed me, has shown me so many different, I say that all the time in my videos, and it's true, it shows me new things. I mean, I get new awakenings every other day. But being spiritual is what we all are essentially. But we are so programmed to be this way or the other way, and we've forgotten who we are. This is why some people go out in nature and they like getting involved in that, because they're trying to get back to what they are, and that's understandable. But to get back to who you are, it's just about just simply letting go what the world's telling you and to just be. And to not have any inhibitions and ego illusions. like Alan Watts says, I think what did he say? He said that one of the big illusions is trying to get rid of your ego, but the joke of it is that it doesn't exist. All that exists really is in your life is this presence right here, and this awareness within that presence, and that's all we are. That's all. It's really simple. Once you start to be present, and it's in that moment of presence that, like I say, that's when people get that awakening. That's what Eckhart Tolle said recently about the lockdown, that he believes that some people will spiritually awaken because they're on their own, because they're forced to be present. See, when you run from your own company, you're running from presence because people don't like their own energy. But this is when you spiritually awaken. It's at that moment that you stop looking externally, and you're letting your intuition, your soul, your inner guidance lead the way now. But like I say, the reason it happens in depression is because sometimes you have to be forced backed into a corner before this kind of thing is going to manifest, because awakening is an extremely deep experience. And if you're not ready for that, if you're not ready instinctively to do that, to go within, then it won't happen. But that's what it means to be spiritual. It's to be spiritual. When you become spiritual, it's at that moment that you know the outward or what you're told is all wrong. And that's when you become your true spiritual, authentic self. It's at that moment you let go, and that's when the spiritual awakening starts happening. See, when I'm doing these videos, it's like I'm going back in time. I'm talking about my awakening. It's a very healing thing for me to do this. And I like doing it, and I should, that's the thing about mental health, is that you recover from anything by talking. And and that's it. And I said at the start of the video about perception, and yeah, that's another thing that you realize once you start awakening. You start working with your awareness, and you realize that the only difference with awakening and non-awakening is a different type of perception and awareness. It's like the picture I've put on my social media now from a cover picture. Now some might perceive it as drugs, but it's not the way I perceive it. It's a different kind of way that I that picture, that picture with the drug on the tongue. And to me, that represents freedom. It represents love. And that's it. That's what it represents for me, and I don't have to say much more about that. And this is why a lot of drugs and stuff are illegal. Like MDMA is now being used for people with post-traumatic stress. A lot of the stuff that is legal should be illegal, and a lot of the stuff that's illegal should be legal. Especially when it comes to like plant stuff, that shouldn't be illegal. If it's a plant, it should definitely not be illegal. It should be legal. But it's not illegal until the system makes it illegal. But I think I'm just going to end this video now, and I just wanted to do a talk on what it means to be spiritual. And in that I spoke about awareness and perception, and it's all connected, you see. And that's why I flow through the subjects, because it's once I'm in that state, I'm just channeling, I'm just moving through the subjects. And what it is to be spiritual, it's not a way someone behaves. It's what we all are, essentially. The spiritual self within you. That's what we all are. That's what it means to be spiritual. And I'm just going to leave it there. And if you're watching, you're meant to watch it. Everything falls to divine order and divine timing. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you.